Hello, everybody, and welcome to Back and Forth. I'm your host, Gecko Man, and sitting beside me is our co-host, Rogue Gambit, the man who is Groot.
I am Groot.
All right, I guess that's how we're starting.
All right. So let's. Do you want to talk about I am Groot first?
So let's talk about I Am Groot first.
All right.
Hated it.
Well,
No, I didn't
that's
hate it.
your opinion.
I thought it was.
So it was 5 episodes.
Yep,
Let's
five.
start off with.
Well, they're more like
5.
short movies. Short movies.
There's only like 5 minutes each, and they're basically full movies in 5 minutes. I mean, ups and downs, twists and turns, and yeah.
I really don't want to continue talking about this way.
What? So yeah, what were your thoughts?
For its type of thing, just following Groot, seeing what kind of stuff and shambles he gets up in, kind of interesting. I like it. I liked it. There were definitely some ups and quite a few downs, in my opinion. But
Yeah, I really liked it. Like it didn't try to be too much, and it just followed Groot around having fun.
I think what really confused me was how the little people got so technological so quickly.
That was hilarious. Yeah, I think my favorite one was Groot takes a bath, which was hilarious.
That was great. That was pretty good.
I'd seen parts of that in the trailer, and I was like, this kind of looks dumb. But then, like, I don't know, it just set up each story so well.
It did.
And like it's just Groot just survived Groot. So there's like not a lot of like dialogue. You just like watch it and figure out what's going on and see the story.
It was pretty clever stuff they did.
And I liked the animation quite a bit too.
Yeah, the animation was like the first time watching it, I was like, "Is this even animation?" For a second, I was a little confused, but then I kind of knew it was. I did like in that one episode where 37 minutes later.
Yeah, that one was really good too. That whole episode actually was really good. The story with the little people. I really like how it's set up, like things so quickly. With like the random anteater guy and then the bird. I also really liked the episode where, like the horror episode. I can't remember what it was called.
Groot's something, like going to that whole sauce, just dancing,
It was just, I really liked how like it played upon this like horror aspect and just like building up, and then it just like
I am Groot.
Just like kind of went off the rails in a good way.
Yeah.
All in all,
I do like that there wasn't like some ginormous like fight between this.
Yeah,
it was just him just dancing over to the airlock.
And I feel like that was kind of what they did the whole, I don't even know what to call it, series.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it either.
It's like they didn't try to do too much, right? Like they didn't have a bunch of like Rocket in there or other Guardians or anything like that. It was just like, no, we're just following Groot around and he's having fun.
Of course, there was that one episode where we had Rocket and a little bit of Drax, I think. I don't know who was in the shower, but
yeah. Yeah, so overall, I don't know if we want to rate this. Do you want to rate this? Give it a back for a score?
Sure.
All right. So what would you give it?
I would give it I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
8? Wow. I thought you were going to be lower than that. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Like it just
Really?
it did what it was supposed to, but it like didn't do anything spectacular. So
yeah.
That's why I'd give it that.
Yeah. I would give yeah. It didn't have I was totally fine that it didn't have this grand story. Thankfully, that probably would have ruined it with what they were trying to do. So, yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
Moving on.
So, we're going to talk about She-Hulk next. But before we do that, I want to mention a few housekeeping details.
So,
She-Hulk's going to be coming out on Thursdays. And so, I don't know if I mentioned that next week. I don't know if I mentioned that next week. But anyways, so our main show is now going to be coming out on Thursdays so that we can watch it and have our reaction to it. Also, because we're having to change everything up this week, next week, and going forward, this week and next week, we're not going to have an after party.
We don't know about the third week. We'll find out.
We'll figure it out when we get there. But yeah, so expect our main episodes to be on Thursdays for at least through She-Hulk. We'll see what we do after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully we'll get back to some after party. I'm excited for She-Hulk kindness next week. Yeah, but let's hop over to Mr. Gecko Man. What do you expect? What do you think?
So here, I did see I had a little spoiler, which I'm kind of annoyed about because it was Daredevil spoiler. I just saw the Daredevil suit. Thankfully, it wasn't in the best lighting, so I could not get some good details on it. But it looked yellow.
Didn't I tell you it was yellow?
Yeah, you definitely said it was yellow, but I didn't know like how it was gonna look. I was thinking like a normal, like bright yellow color.
Yeah, so I think they did a really good job of kind of merging, I guess.
All I saw was just a little smidgen of yellow because he was like in the shadows. There was some yellow shining coming through, but I couldn't really tell other than that.
Right.
Of course, I didn't really see his face at all, so I have no idea if he's gonna if maybe there's something different about him that might.
But yeah, I think they did with like the yellow suit. I think they did a good job of merging his yellow suit from the comics with the way his suit looks in the TV show, the Netflix TV show.
It did look like
still has that like rustic or just like not bright colors. It was very dark, but it also like had the red and the yellow and like that like fabric-y look to it.
Definitely looked like the suit from the TV show.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I can't get the color details out very well because it was like he was in the shadows. I couldn't tell. But yeah, other than that, I didn't see anything else.
Expectations for the show.
I have no idea what to expect. I've heard so many things about it. I'll just say things. I've heard that the CGI looks quite horrible. I've also heard that it doesn't look too bad. So I have no idea what to expect.
Well, I'd say both things are true. In the fact that when the original trailer came out, it looked quite horrible. And when the newest trailer came out, it looked not too bad, but it's still not great.
Okay. I don't know how I'm going to feel with She-Hulk being the one to break the fourth wall. Because, Deadpool's kind of that guy.
Right. And of course, I don't know if you know this, but Deadpool did do it after She-Hulk in the comics.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's not my problem with this. Isn't like, oh, they're stealing it from Deadpool or anything.
Well, that's not the thing. I've always had this impression that She-Hulk was not the one to be. It isn't one of those people to break the fourth wall. But maybe I'm wrong. I could.
Right. And so, like, my problem with it is like the way you have to like set up the show for that to happen. For a character to break the fourth wall, it has to be depicted as like comedy or whatever, right, for it to make sense, because like there's not actually anything a fourth wall, right? Like they're not actually talking to someone, or if they like that's what Deadpool is he just like is, and that's what makes it work for Deadpool. Whereas with She-Hulk, like I just didn't want it to be like that far into the comedy genre,
Yeah,
and I feel like it's going to be, but
I don't know how I'm going to feel about it being this the sitcom type show. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. It may be good, but at the same time, it may be pretty bad. I am excited to see like Abomination come back if he is in it. Maybe even some more heroes that we haven't seen before. Stuff like that. I am excited. I am excited to hear about Sokovia Accords if they do pop up in this, which kind of makes sense because it is this type of, I guess, what is it? What am I supposed to call this?
Lawyer genre. Yeah.
Lawyer genre. And also, I guess we never really get a look at like how the whole justice system works in the Marvel universe. So we might get a look. So kind of interesting to get a look at that. Any idea of who the bad guy is? Okay. Do I know this bad guy?
Maybe. Well, we'll get to my expectations.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah, sure. So villain. It's kind of going to be.
Is it a villain of like in the whole gamma spectrum?
So like I don't know if there's going to be like one villain.
Okay.
There's going to be a couple of villains for sure. I don't know if there's going to be like a main villain. If there's going to be a main villain, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like what's her face from who's been at the end of the show is putting together the Thunderbolts team.
The Thunderbolts?
Yeah. It's eventually going to be the Thunderbolts, right? I don't know if she called them, but anyways, the person.
I don't think she's ever called it. I know who you're talking, Madam Hydra.
Right, but that's not her name. But yeah, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Valerie, Vanessa, something. It's a really long name. Anyways, the person that showed up at the end of. Was she up at the end of WandaVision?
Yeah, no, she wasn't.
Okay, but Winter Soldier and Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow.
Who's Scarf?
Black Widow and Loki.
Yeah.
Anyways, putting together her little Dark Avengers or whatever, which I think is good. Since there's a Thunderbolts movie coming July of 2024, I'm pretty sure that's when that's going to be.
Okay.
2022.
So you think she's going to be the main villain?
I think like not necessarily like be the one fighting against,
but
She-Hulk,
have
but be the one pulling the strings.
Okay.
Because so here's the thing. So we know Titania is showing up in it.
I don't know that.
All right.
Have no idea who that is. So
the collective we know this. Titania.
Ouch.
Titania is like a She-Hulk villain from the comics.
Okay. I know very little.
I'll go into like her backstory and stuff when we get to like seeing her in the episodes. But I think I mentioned a little bit a couple weeks ago that we should have saw her, what her backstory like. But we'll go into more detail later. But anyway, she's going to be showing up in it as a villain. And then Abomination is in it.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. But here's the thing: we know that there is this task force of lawyers that are supposed to be defending superheroes. And so Jennifer Walters is going to be the face of it, as they say. And so she's going to be representing Abomination. And it seems like the story is going to go something along the lines of like Abomination is rehabilitated and is like helping other superheroes and villains like get like what's like self-help, he has like this whole like seminar thingy.
Yeah.
So anyways,
just imagine a small podium in front of him.
Well, that thing is he has found a way to transform back into Mia Blonsky.
So we're gonna get
and so that's where it goes different from the comics. Is in the comics, Abomination cannot change back.
Yeah.
So not sure exactly how that's gonna be. It could even be so. There's this sorcerer guy, right, that I talked about, the Ghost Rider cameo, and his poster or whatever his shows up at the same place that Abomination's on.
Wait,
little. So it's like I don't know. I'm not sure that we don't know what it is, but it's some sort of like retreat center place where he's like doing these like seminars, and there's this magician guy there as well. I don't know if it's something where like he's making it look like he's transforming into Mia Blonsky or what.
Oh, that makes sense.
I just feel like that was a weird Easter egg to have, and so it might play more part of it than I think. Now here's the thing. About since we're on Abomination, also they changed the look of Abomination from the original Hulk movie, Incredible Hulk, to look a lot more like he looks in the comics. So that's interesting.
Really,
it's got like the fins for the ears, and stuff like that, which is I'm very happy with. It just shows how far like they've come to the fact that they're willing to do that, because like they said, and when they made the Incredible Hulk, they didn't want to do that because they didn't want to like make it look too comic booky, right? For like because they're trying to get fans that weren't necessarily comic book fans, but they come far enough that Marvel's willing to do that, which I think is cool. Anyways, anything else you want to say? Because I have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah. No, that's kind of exciting to hear about the new look of Abomination, but I feel like they would need to explain it due to we've already seen him twice,
and that the explanation could in he had that look. For the most part in Shang-Chi.
It might have just been, I just might be remembering it wrong, but maybe he did.
I'm pretty sure he did, unless I'm remembering it correctly.
No, I'm remembering it incorrectly.
Anyways.
Okay. Yeah, so And then this whole magician guy has me a little weirded out.
I know nothing about it. We don't see him, as far as I know. Yeah.
How do you know? He could just be that random bystander.
That's what I'm saying, as far as I know.
All right. Moving on to what else do you have to say about this?
So as a whole, kind of my expectations, I think we're going to, based on the trailers, and like I said, she talks about cameos and stuff, I think we're going to get a lot of cameos. Now, we know that in the past, right, there's been a lot of rumors about cameos that never happened, and there's been like, even, let's go back to like their first TV show, right? There were a lot of talks about, Quicksilver, there's a lot of talks about Doctor Strange all being like tied in.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they did the joke with Quicksilver, and that was about all with him. And then with Doctor Strange, he was supposed to show up in the last episode, but he didn't because they didn't want it to be too long and all that, and didn't want to tie into everything.
Wait, Doctor Strange last episode? What are you talking about?
Last episode of WandaVision.
Oh, last
Doctor
episode.
Strange was supposed to show up.
Okay.
They did.
Sorry, I thought we were still on Quicksilver here, talking about.
No. Anyway.
Okay.
So all that to say, the same thing has happened in other shows, like they've talked about, and all these different cameos that possibly could happen, and even in some of the movies, right? And they had a lot of stuff that cut out. So they've done a really good job of sticking to the main character story.
Yeah.
And so with all the rumors of the cameos and everything, I don't know how much. I do think there'll be cameos, but I don't think they're going to drive the story very much. I think the story is going to be about She-Hulk and about what's going on with her, lawyering for these villains and heroes. So I think they'll stick to that. I do think there'll be a lot of cameos in that because of that references to upcoming things, but I don't think we'll dive very much into those details at all. Yes.
So a couple things here. I also feel like now this could just be me, but due to us getting so far into this phase of Marvel here,
right,
we have very little on stuff that's happening in this Marvel world coming into these movies and shows. Do you feel like stuff like that would come into it?
I think they're going to do that in a little bit. I don't think we're going to hear anything about the Celestial. I don't think we're going to hear anything about Wakanda and Atlantis. What I do think we will hear about is, and this is where I think Madam Hydra might be like shown as the villain. I think we would have seen her away if she's going to be in more than like the last episode. But I do think she will eventually be shown recruiting Titania, recruiting Abomination or whatnot. Because I think, like, that's the side, like, it's the TV shows and this Thunderbolts team that seems like going to be referenced more, and maybe a little bit with Hulk. We'll talk about that in a second. But I don't think we're going to get much into our MCU and where we're at right now.
Okay. Yeah, speaking of Hulk, is he supposed to be into his green form?
Professor Hulk form?
Yeah.
That he was in? All right, so that good to talk about. So they released on IMDb the first, 2 minutes of the show. And so we kind of see how she's going to get her power a little bit. What her backstory is going to be kind of. So it starts out with her sitting in a car with Bruce Banner, not with Hulk. So he has somehow transformed himself back into Bruce Banner, which we knew from the end of Shang-Chi, all right?
Yeah, which really confuses me because it just confuses me.
And then they end up getting in a car accident, and I think that's when she's going to need the blood transfusion, like in the comics, and da-da-da-da. She's going to get her powers. Well, a couple of things. He's now Bruce Banner. He also has the sling on, he had in the end of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Right? Because he injured it snapping. But in every other shot that we've seen in the trailer with him in it, he does not have a sling. Which means, and he also is in Professor Hulk form in other parts of the trailer. Which means he's found some way to be able to transform into Professor Hulk and into Bruce Banner, and maybe even into full Hulk. We don't know. And at some point, he's going to fix his arm.
Yeah.
How that all happens, we don't know. But there's something in between the very start of the episode and where we go from there. Now, on the Hulk storyline, where I think they're going with him, overall in the MCU, it seems, is what caused the car accident? A spaceship does.
A spaceship.
A spaceship. A spaceship that looks a whole lot like the Grand Master spaceship from Sakaar.
No way.
Now, there's been a ton of rumors, of course, about World War Hulk happening as a standalone Hulk movie that like transitions into Battle World and stuff. Because that's how it is in the comics. And if you know anything about the World War Hulk storyline, basically he gets the Illuminati, shoots him into space, he ends up landing on Sakaar, his wife and kids die, he blames the people on Earth, so he is on Sakaar, he becomes like the ruler of Sakaar by winning all the battles, and then he brings Sakaar to Earth and tries and kills everybody. Now, if there's this spaceship from Sakaar, he's been on Sakaar, this caused the accident, he would be really mad, right? Because now they basically killed his cousin and he had to give him a blood transfusion to bring him back or whatnot.
Okay.
He could be, we don't know if the spaceship's there to bring him back, right? The Grand Inquisitor, Grand Master.
Grand Inquisitor's coming in, boys. Star Wars and Marvel.
The Grand Master, right, was like, this is my champion, right? And now his champion's gone, so he could be coming to get his champion again, or it could be, he's sent to kill him. We don't know. But I think what they're probably going to do with his story in the show is that's like the start. In the first episode, I think the ship's going to come, cause this accidents. He's going to save her, and then all the training montage and stuff that's been in the trailer is going to happen in the first episode. And the first episode is probably going to end with him being like, fine, you go back and be a lawyer. I'm going to go figure out what's going on with Sakaar, and he's going to get in the spaceship or whatever and end up back on Sakaar. And then he's going to end up becoming the Grand Master, basically, of Sakaar. And stuff will happen. That'll be like a solo film later, way down the line.
Okay.
But here's the problem with my theory.
There is definitely a problem I see, but
is telling that whole World War Hulk story. I mean, it could be a standalone movie that tells all that and gets him back to Earth, but telling that all in Phase 6, that is where we don't know what the movies are, right, in Phase 6. I don't really see a spot for that in Phase 6, which means he will not be back for the 2 Avengers movies, which I'm pretty sure he'll be in. Plus, unless, Kang or whatever brings him there or whatever. Because if it's Battle World and all that, could do that. But I think it would have to be before that, and I just really don't see a spot for it. But I could be wrong. There could be a spot that I'm giving to something else, or they haven't fully announced yet, or whatnot. But that's rumor. We can talk about that later. That's way in the future. But talk about She-Hulk. That's what I think his story in She-Hulk will be.
All right.
So I had originally said, I think a month or so ago when we were first talking about it, I thought there'd been rumors and stuff that he was going to be in it, and this was like when trailers were first coming out, and that we had thought that he would be in the finale episode. I don't think he will be. I think how kind of the main cameos that we've seen and how they're going to go are he'll be only in the first episode, maybe first 2, and then we'll see Matt Murdock as a lawyer doing stuff with Jennifer Walters as a lawyer, and then we'll see Daredevil in like the last couple episodes.
Okay.
Oh. Who else will cameo? Well, we know Wong will be in it from the trailer.
Yeah.
Not sure exactly how that's going to be.
Do you think maybe a little bit, or at least a mention of Doctor Strange, maybe?
Wong might mention something, but he might mention, like, if there's a mention of him, I think it'll be like, yeah, he's, gone, right? So,
yeah,
which could reference him being gone.
I wonder if they'll talk about what Wanda did. Not necessarily Wanda going into the whole multiverse, but what she did to that part of Earth that's just been ravaged by the
Wundagore.
Not Wundagore, no.
Westview?
The cherry blossom. Okay. Yeah. Because it seemed pretty big, and I don't think anybody could really not notice that area.
Yeah, it
could explain why Wong could be in it. He could be like.
Well, I think why Wong's in it is why when we see him in Shang-Chi. Now, once again, the timeline of Phase 4 is so confusing right now. We don't know when this is set.
Yeah, exactly.
This could be set before WandaVision. I mean, no, it's not so. Most likely not something they wanted for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So what Wanda has done, we might not even know about yet.
Yeah, true.
It could also be after. It could be after Eternals. It could be a whole lot of things that need to be talked about. We don't know.
Yeah, there's this whole timeline is so confusing. I really hope they clear it up here soon.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk on that before going to other parts of the show?
I think that's about it. Yeah, my main question is if it is after the whole multiverse incident. I'm hoping they talk about
right, and they could just talk about it on like a large scale, like not getting into details with like her representing superheroes. They'd be like, oh well, you know, we thought Wanda was a superhero, you know, type of a thing, and look what she did or whatever.
Yeah.
There could also be, you know, mentions of.
I guess they could talk about even if they don't talk about multiverse, they could talk about Westview. So, like, we thought she was a superhero, but look at what she did with Westview.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of the storyline will be on that, like the government and like their control and them trying to.
You think the oblivious DODC is going to be in it?
Yes, I do think the DODC will have at least. I mean, it seems like they're going to be in a lot of the shows and be a big part of them,
and be as oblivious as ever.
Yeah, suck at their jobs and not notice anything that happens right in front of their noses. Now, here's another big comic book reference and could be very important going forward, especially with talk about Hulk and Hulks as a whole. We see in Shang-Chi, right, Abomination, and we see him get taken to this place where it seems like there's like this prison. And we see that again in the trailers, and then we see the outside of that building. It looks a whole lot like the Cube. Now, if people don't know what the Cube is in the comics, it's this prison that is specifically designed by Mr. Fantastic and Bruce Banner to hold gamma
villains,
creatures. It holds
gamma people.
Yeah.
All right, we froze him, guys.
Yes, things. It's hard to say like people or what, because like there's so many gamma things out there. There's aliens, there's animals, there's all this stuff.
Yeah,
and there's humans, of course, that have gamma-based powers. So it's made to hold things with gamma-based powers. But of course, it has holds Abomination in the comics. It holds Abomination. It holds the Hulk. It holds Zag. It holds the Leader. You know, all these different people. And there's a lot of storylines based on that whole area. The gamma-based villains being held there, and there's a lot of connection to Fantastic Four, of course. So that's interesting, and of course the government too, who sanctions it. We've got a couple of prisons that are big prisons already mentioned. Of course, we have in Civil War we see the Raft.
Yep, Raft.
Which is another really big prison that from the comics. We see the Big House, right? No, we see references to the Big House. I guess.
We definitely see references. I don't think we ever go to the Big House or
but
see
based on the PIM technology and the way it's able to shrink whole buildings and everything inside the buildings, that's basically what the Big House is. It's a giant prison that shrunk down to microscopic form. And now we're getting into the quantum realm, so we can get into other prisons but all these are connected to Mr. Fantastic and PIM. Very interesting that we're getting another one that we don't have Mr. Fantastic yet. I don't think there's going to be a reference to Mr. Fantastic.
You don't know. They could even just mention him. It's easy to mention, but other stuff.
I don't think. Like, yes, we've gotten the Baxter building drop in a multiverse, but I don't think we're going to get any Baxter, Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. I don't think any of those are going to be name dropped. I think if they attribute it to someone, it's either going to be to a Stark or to, like, I guess Norman Osborn, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't be because...
I don't either. Or if the closest they would get to Reed Richards is a Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I would say it would be more of a chance of being like Tony Stark or I guess maybe a Doctor Doom, but not really a not.
Here's the only reason I'd say possibly bring in Norman Osborn is because we know we're getting Riri Williams, Ironheart, if people don't know who that is, in Wakanda Forever, and we're getting Armor Wars eventually, plus an Ironheart show. Now they could have Doctor Doom kind of encompass Norman Osborn's role if he's going for vibranium like Norman Osborn was, and creating armor like Norman Osborn was, and that's what creates Armor Wars, which is very closely tied to World War Hulk, by the way. I don't know if they're going to tie them together in this, but in the comics they are. But anyways, Norman Osborn is basically the villain of Armor Wars. They could make it be Doctor Doom. They could make it be, the government, right? Trying to create their own Iron Man for their Dark Avengers team. There are a lot of things they can do with that. But I feel like, I've said this many times, I feel like they have to start building up these villains and they haven't been. So we'll see. It can even be referenced to Kang or, technology from the future, whatever it is. But anyway, we don't know. It could literally not just be government created this prison. We don't know.
Okay. All right. So here's another thing I want to ask. So going back to the cube, or whatever it's called, the prison.
Yeah, it's the cube, right?
Okay, just making sure. So if we're getting the cube, we might get some more references to Gamma villains.
Yeah, we haven't yet. In the trailers, got reference to any other Gamma villains. There has been other powered creatures. We see Minotaur Man, I think is his name. Bull Man. The Bull. I don't know. He's a Minotaur.
It's still a weird name.
He's a Minotaur that basically, is a Minotaur. And his controls are like, he's not super powered or anything. He's not Gamma based. I do think he shows up originally in She-Hulk. And he's a villain of She-Hulk and Thor, I think. But anyway, I don't know much about him. We do see him in the trailer. We also see, it's funny, it's similar vein, like bulls. What are bullfighters called?
Gladiators?
No.
Bullfighters?
With the cape.
Toto.
Yeah, whatever those people are called, that's his name. Whatever their name. My goodness, I can't think what they're called.
Bullfighters?
Matador. I don't know if he's Matador Man or whatever, but anyways, he's a bullfighter.
Is he bullfighting man?
We see him. I don't know anything about him, but we do see him. So we do see other people that she might be representing and stuff. So I don't know. I doubt there'll be other Gamma based people. If there is, I would say maybe we'd get a leader being in the prison.
Yeah.
Since we have already got him tying in that. I don't know how much Kevin Feige wants to draw on that though. Maybe though.
Well, so here's the thing. Like I said, I understand that the Incredible Hulk and Hulk himself hasn't gotten a movie, and touching on the whole She-Hulk show, that you kind of have to have at least one or two Gamma villains in there. We already have Abomination. Cool. But maybe a little something of other Gamma villains. Now, I feel like you do need to, at some point, explain what happened to... If you haven't seen The Incredible Hulk, go watch it. Leader. The guy who became leader in that. We see him get the gamma radiation, and what happened to him?
Yeah.
We don't know what happened to him, so I feel like you do need to touch up on that, but I also can understand if you don't want to, due to it being kind of a hard movie to go off of due to what happened. I don't know. I mean, they could easily, if it's just an actor problem, I feel like they could easily just get a different actor to play as the leader, and because of this whole gamma radiation, it changes your face, basically. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'll be in it, but that would be my guess of if anyone is.
I would like to see the leader show up.
Yeah.
I understand.
I'd prefer it in a solo Hulk film.
Yeah, true. I'm not saying he should show up in She-Hulk, but I would just maybe at some point maybe just mention him or be like, hey, this guy's been in the cube for so long. We should let him out.
Yeah. And there are some that you can do that with, kind of, right? Like you got like a Zags and
yeah, Wrecking Crew.
And yeah, the Wrecking Crew will be in it.
Oh, that's right. You did say that.
It seems that way. There is what looks like the Wrecking Crew with, once again, magical-based things.
Magical-based
I don't know if you remember, but like their weapons are magical-based in the comic.
I never knew that.
They're like, they're all like relics of Asgard.
Huh.
And it looks like they're gonna have like something magical-based as their weapons, which could be once again a tie to this magician that we don't know anything about.
Yeah. I feel like he's going to be the
It could also be why Wong's there, right?
Oh, that would make sense. But why wouldn't there be like an Asgardian there?
Well, I'm not saying they are in the trailer from Asgard. I'm just saying in the comics that's true. And
well, yeah, but I'm just saying if it is,
then I would think that.
And at least just an Asgardian doesn't need to be someone we know. It could just be an Asgardian that's like, yep, I'm here to show you that these are Asgardian weapons. Yes. Anything else?
All right. So yeah, that goes in like the tone of the movie. Based on the clip that I've seen now from the first episode, it does seem like there's going to be a lot of humor in the show. Definitely going to be on that comedy.
Oh dear.
Aspect. Whatever. Not a huge fan, but I hope they do a good job.
Now here's the big question. What do you think it will rate going up against Miss Marvel? I mean, Miss Marvel.
Like, do I think it'll be better or worse?
Do you think it'll be better? Do you think it'll be worse?
I mean, it's kind of hard to get worse.
I don't know. Like, if you just throw something out there that just has no story,
right?
No nothing, but they're trying to, you'll like see little.
Here's what I'll say. I'm not going to say it's going to be better. I do think I personally will enjoy it more because it's going to have those ties to just like a lot to look at that I care about. Like Miss Marvel, yeah, they tried to tie it into the comics and have their Easter eggs and whatnot, but it was for a character I really didn't care about.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas doing that with Daredevil, with having references already to Ghost Rider, having references now to the Defenders in a TV series that I enjoyed, having references to Wong and Doctor Strange. Like, those are actually things that I already care about. I just think I'll enjoy the show more because of that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know. Like, the big thing is, if your storytelling's as bad as Miss Marvel, and the one thing that Miss Marvel did well was the CGI and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part. Had its issues, but for the most part, it did a good job. If the CGI is as bad as it looks right now, and you're as bad storytelling, it could be just as bad as worse.
Okay. All right, just wanted your opinion. Wondering what you would think of that. Okay. Anything else on She-Hulk?
All right, so since we're not doing a after party this week, I think we can get into some rumors. One rumor that ties into She-Hulk that I want to get into, we already talked about Armor Wars, but
yes, please.
Another one, I'm blanking on suddenly. There's a lot of rumors going on about these cameos and who might be in it and ties to those characters. So we'll start with the one that we know is going to be in there, and that's Daredevil, and what kind of could be going on with him and other Defenders. So in the comics, something that's just really exciting to think about is he teams up with a certain webhead a lot in the comics, right?
Yeah.
So we know there's going to be more Spider-Man movies coming out, and we know that there's a whole 18-episode TV show for Daredevil coming out. Just the possibilities with them teaming up is so exciting. And we know that they both got referenced by Kevin Feige at San Diego Comic-Con as street-level heroes. So just that street level with Kingpin as a villain, I'm so excited where they might go with that, and I'm very, very excited if they do team up because they are two of my favorite heroes. Now, other defenders
Calm down.
that we know might be coming to the MCU. There's been rumors about a certain Punisher, right? Because there's a Punisher TV show, and that's in one of the defenders, of course. So the possibilities of there being a Punisher TV show are out there. And last week, I think it was within the last week, the character or the actress who plays the nurse, Claire, in Daredevil and Punisher and all the Defenders, except I don't know if she shows up in. She doesn't. Punisher's, I guess, the only one she doesn't show up in. She's also the actress who's playing Ahsoka.
Yes, yes. I remember.
Anyway, she let slip at Chicago Comic-Con. She's basically like, I'm super excited for the Punisher show coming out because I might actually get to be with Punisher Chris Bernthal, which I wasn't able to do when the original one came out. And then people were like, wait, what? And she put out, oh, I'm sorry, like so many fans were asking me about it. I thought that it was already announced or whatever. She's like, I don't know anything about it, actually. I don't know what to believe on that front. I think that it will happen. And, of course, I love John Bernthal. I've talked about him even in our Ford v Ferrari review. He's such a good actor.
Yeah, he is.
And the Punisher TV show, not fantastic, but the Punisher in season 2 of Daredevil is fantastic. So
I still need to finish that show.
Yes, you do.
I need to watch all of them. I know.
You're over here telling me to watch freaking
Rebels,
and you don't watch an actually good show?
I've watched a good show.
Not Daredevil. Anyways.
It's called Gravity Falls.
You watch one good show in your life. Anyways. You made me lose my train of thought.
Good.
John Bernthal's awesome. Punisher, super excited for it. Anyway, will he show up in She-Hulk? You doubt it. But it's a possibility, of course. Now, something exciting else, right? We know that, we don't know because they won't talk about it, but we've got the whole supernatural side of it and Werewolf by Night and all that coming out.
Oh!
And hopefully Midnight Suns eventually. The big trouble with bringing Punisher into Marvel is he's so violent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Punisher show on Netflix, not for the faint of heart. It's very violent. He's a very violent character. He uses guns and brutality very effectively.
Yeah.
So, that level on Disney Plus platform, I don't really see happening.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Daredevil's very violent too. It can transition a little bit at taking some of that violence out without losing its charm. Whereas taking that out of Punisher loses so much of its effectiveness. Like that's who Frank Castle is. There's reasons he's that brutal. There's reasons for that. Taking that out does take a little bit away from it. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it does. Now, one way that they can do it, and I'll have to give a shout out here to everybody talking about it. Emergency Awesome, The Cosmic Wonder, Everything Always. They're all talking about it, of course, because it was big news, and everyone's excited for Frank Castle and the Midnight Suns, is if they do it where the villains are monsters, zombies, supernatural beings, you can have that violence without it being not on a Disney Plus platform. Are they going to go that way? I would really hope, I still feel like that does take away a little bit. Do I love him teaming up with Blade and Moon Knight? Yes, that'd be incredible. They're all three such brutal characters fighting supernatural beings would be so exciting. But will that happen? I don't know. It just is a way to bring him in with the same level of violence. So trying to keep their fans that they already have with bringing new fans in. Wouldn't be surprised if they went that way. I do think he's probably coming, but I just don't know if it just might be a while because that. I really want John Bernthal though. He's amazing. Alright. Other rumors. Let's go a little bit further away from She-Hulk into a rumor about a certain actor coming to the MCU. There are rumors about a certain Henry Cavill playing Mr. Fantastic. What are your thoughts?
I don't remember him very well.
So Henry Cavill plays Man of Steel, Superman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
He
yeah,
plays
yeah.
in
I don't know.
Fallout.
To be honest, it's gonna be kind of weird to see this actor play this type of character.
Yeah. Personally, I think Henry Cavill's a very good actor.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Love him in Fallout. In Fallout, he does so good. He does a good job at portraying Superman. I really, really like him in The Witcher.
Haven't seen The Witcher.
Okay. I'm just saying, he does such a... But the thing that all those characters have in common that Mr. Fantastic does not have is they're imposing figures.
Mm-hmm.
Very large, muscular figures, which he can pull off. He's a very big, muscular man.
Yeah.
And they all are men of few words.
Yep.
Which Mr. Fantastic, once again, is not. He's not a big, muscular guy.
Yep. He's a stretchy guy.
Of many words.
Yes, he is.
Do I think that Henry Cavill has the acting ability to portray a Mr. Fantastic? Yes, I do. But do I think he's the right choice for Mr. Fantastic? No, I do not. I would much rather see him in other rumors. He's been rumored as Captain Britain. Once again, fantastic choice. A giant, muscular, superpowered man. He's been rumored as a villain. Somebody else. Anyways, I'm blanking on the other one. But the villain, once again. Oh yeah, he was rumored as Hercules, but we know he's not Hercules now. But anyways, there's other characters that he could play that I would love to see. The other problem is his contract. He has a contract with DC right now. He's going to have to fill out. Him doing that and a huge character like Mr. Fantastic that once he's in there is going to be in there for a long time, and movies that aren't just Fantastic Four movies, but Avengers movies, and probably Spider-Man movies, and probably, all these other things, TV shows. I really don't see that happening if you're an actor who's also having to play in Justice League movies. And so I don't see this rumor. I mean, I don't see this being true. Especially, I think after Black Adam, we'll have a better idea of what his contract obligations are and where they're going in the DCU. I'll not say that very well. CEU. And have a better understanding of that, but I don't see this being true. Okay. It could just be my hope for John Krasinski, of course, but I just don't think he's right. He's just not the right build, not the right actor. I love you, Henry Cavill, but just not for Mr. Fantastic. I would love to see him as a Cyclops, as Wolverine. Okay, it's too tall for Wolverine.
Yeah,
as like an X-Men.
Oh,
almost any of the guys.
Seeing him
like
as a
leader type.
Yeah,
great.
Cyclops, I would love to see him as, actually, because thinking about it now, I think he would be a perfect Cyclops.
Agreed. He might be a little old, especially because it sounds like they're trying to do a younger version of the X-Men.
Yeah,
but I don't think Cyclops can. He is a leader. He is one of the first. He is a little older than a lot of them, and so they could play off of that and even have an older actor play it. Now, moving on to another rumor about an actor. We had a clip of Giancarlo Espinosa. Esposito, Giancarlo Esposito.
And
who, for, Star Wars fans out there, plays in, of course, Mandalorian and such. I'm guessing is playing in probably other live action things coming out for them. Is he going to be in Ahsoka or anything like that?
If I'm remembering who you're talking about, Mr.
Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon. I don't think he's playing in Ahsoka.
Okay.
So.
But anyways, I think this was also at Chicago Comic-Con. I'm not 100% sure where it was, but he basically said, there's these rumors about me playing, let me see, he said Magneto. He said Dr. Freeze. He said Dr. Doom and Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Charles Xavier. Professor X. And they're like, hey, which one would you want to play if you could play him? And he says Mr. Professor X, Charles Xavier. Now, there's a lot you can read into that, of course. You could read into that, oh, he's playing Professor X. Why do I keep saying Mr.? He's playing Professor X. You could also read into Marvel would never let him say that, so he's not playing Professor X, right?
Yeah.
You could read into that he's playing someone else. You could also read into the fact that he said Dr. Freeze. Dr. Freeze doesn't exist. There's a Mr. Freeze, of course. There's also characters based on cold powers in the MCU. Don't know. I'm guessing he just had a little slip of the tongue, but has he been talking to DC? We don't know.
Huh. I could see him playing as like a Senator Kelly.
I think that, I mean, we've seen him play mainly villains, right?
Yeah.
We know he can do a good job of that.
Yeah.
We've seen him in The Boys being that, like, government type character. So yeah, I could definitely see him being that. I could see introducing that type of character even in a She-Hulk, right, that had like these government individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So is he talking about this because he's about to be introduced? We don't know. They could also combine a lot of villains. There's a lot of X-Men, since you mentioned so much of the X-Men type characters, villains that are in the government, right? There's more than just Senator Kelly, right? And
Yeah.
Tie into them because in X-Men, there's a lot of shapeshifters and mind warpers that act like they're Senator Kellys and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
so you could even have him be a Mr. Sinister that is acting like he's a Senator Kelly, right? You could have Dr. Doom be introduced as that type of character. We don't know. But at the same time, I would love to see him in a hero role. I think he would make a great Professor X.
Yeah, you know what? I think he could be a really good Professor X as well.
I think also I like him as Dr. Doom quite a bit. I would rather a younger Dr. Doom.
Same. Same. I agree with that. Like I said, though, me personally, I want a Senator Kelly.
Yeah.
I think he could play a really good Senator Kelly, but
Agreed.
I would be totally fine with him playing as a Professor X. Not a Mr. Professor X, but a Professor X.
Yeah. And then other roles, of course, that we know they're trying to cast are, like I kept almost saying, Mr. Fantastic. I think he could play Mr. Fantastic for sure, especially because, like, we know he can be like a villain, and we know that Mr. Fantastic has a lot of arrogant type traits, which kind of are similar to villains. I could definitely see him being like an Illuminati type Mr. Fantastic. And I wouldn't hate that, actually. I kind of like that. Once again, it seems like they're going for younger. With Mr. Fantastic, of course, you could always be older. There's a lot of stories with him being older. So that's a possibility. On the DC side, him saying, of course, Dr. Freeze made you think of Mr. Freeze. I think he would be a fantastic Mr. Freeze, personally. I really like Mr. Freeze in the comics is kind of a thinker more than you would expect from a lot of the Arnold Schwarzeneggers of the world.
Yeah.
And that would be a really fun side, especially in the Batman universe that they started. I think he could be a really good villain in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to Marvel, I would also love to see him as a supernatural villain. I could see him being a Mephisto or that style.
He could be a good Mephisto.
Just somebody really, really evil being a villain of Doctor Strange. I don't know.
I've always had this feeling with him that he's always this guy that's like, he talks a lot, but he always has something going on behind.
Right. And that's what makes you think of him in like a government role. But that's also been what I don't know. I kind of want to see him in a
I would love to see him
different role than he's been in.
Yeah.
And one I would really like to see is that like really evil, like dark villain of a Doctor Strange villain or a Ghost Rider villain or a Midnight Suns villain or something like that. That'd be really fun. But once again, we don't know. He could be not in MCU at all.
Yeah. Anything else on Marvel?
You can go to Star Wars just in case we run out of time. You need to get something in here. And
I do have a couple things I do want to talk about here. So, going on to Andor, like I've always said, I've been mostly focused on Andor. Due to them pushing it back, they are now making it a 3-episode release.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Number 2, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but they have been actually recording, doing a lot of shots on, not at a studio, no green screen, no nothing like that. It's going to be at the location.
Okay.
At locations, like, it's going to be beautiful. I'm really excited for that because we've had a lot of Star Wars, in these crazy green screen stuff, which isn't too bad. They actually look really good, but having it like more vibrant in like a real world status like this, it's going to be so much more beautiful, I think.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think I may have confirmed of what villain is going to be, who's going to be the main bad guy. What? Who?
Yeah.
I think
what do you think I was referencing?
You're looking at your phone.
I'm listening to you.
I think it's going to be a certain Imperial officer that we have not seen before. So it's going to be a new Imperial, which I am a little excited to see a new Imperial officer be this bad guy because, might be interesting.
So completely new?
Completely new.
What?
I think I know who it is from the trailer and all that. Don't want to give away too much, but, and now the question is, are we going to get a Tarkin maybe in the show? Are we going to get maybe even a Grand Admiral Thrawn show up? Which might be a possibility due to Grand Admiral Thrawn showing up in Ahsoka. They might want to just drop a live action Grand Admiral Thrawn in this show.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't think we'll get anything else. Now people are wanting this show to be having a Jedi or some Sith, but me personally, I think we've had enough Jedi and Sith. I know I've said that before.
No
we've already
Jedi.
We kind of already got that with the Book of Boba Fett and kind of Mandalorian, except Grogu's a Jedi, and I guess Grogu's in Book of Boba Fett. But if we could just take a step away from Jedi and Sith and just see what actual people, no force powers or nothing, see what actual people are doing in the Star Wars universe, see how they live and stuff like that. That, in my opinion, would be interesting. Moving on from that, do you have any questions about any of this stuff before I move on?
Nope, it's sounding interesting though.
Yep. And as I said before, I think a lot of people are also getting kind of confused of where Andor's family comes from. His family, like I said before, comes from a separatist family. So his family has always been fighting against the Republic. So which gives him more reason to fight against the Empire, since they kind of came from the Republic. So, which is kind of interesting to see. We'll possibly get some looks at some new planets and probably some more separatist senators, possibly. Which would be interesting. I'm excited to see what Coruscant will look like. Maybe look like this more cleaned up stuff than what we got in episodes 1, 2, and 3. Other than that, I want to talk about something really big here. The AK-47.
Yeah.
I really want to go back to this because I absolutely hate it. I recently watched this video. I forget who I was watching. I think it's X Hearts or something like that. I forget exactly who it is. But he was saying how it's fine that it's in there. We've just know that the E11 was based off of a railgun, modified to look different, look more sci-fi. It's yes, but that's not the whole point. The whole point is how it looks exactly like our AK-47. If you want to do that, if you want to use an AK-47 and make it look spacey and stuff, that's fine. Do that. Yeah. Don't make it look exactly like an AK-47. Yeah, so I'm a little concerned. I know there is a lot of people out there who absolutely hate that the AK-47 is in it. And like I said, the AK-47 either better not be in it at all, or if we do see it, I want to see that whole thing through and just see how it works. just to know if it's going to be like an actual Star Wars thing. I don't know. It's going to be kind of annoying. Other than that, I am excited to see it not be like this battleground. I'm hoping it's going to be more of this spy show, which we haven't really gotten in a Star Wars.
Right.
So it's going to be kind of interesting. I'm excited. Other than that, I think that's about it that I want to talk about. Ooh, actually, no, something else. We do get a look at this character. Who he is debatable. My suspicions are it could be Moff Gideon. So we might get a younger version of Moff Gideon.
Interesting.
I don't know. Like, if it's the start of the Empire or closer to the time when the Empire was at the height of its power, then yeah, it would make sense. We would see a lot of these normal Imperials, people that we've already seen. And seeing a Moff Gideon in the time of the Empire, I would actually like to see that. That would be kind of interesting to see. To see what type of power he held and stuff and what made him so the man he was in Mandalorian.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's about it. Anything else you want to talk about on Andor?
I don't think so.
All right.
Good.
Moving on from that, I haven't seen anything else on any of the other shows. What that could mean, I have no idea. They could just be waiting for what's it called?
D23.
D23. I was going to call it D3B, but yeah. So that's all I've got. Anything else for Marvel other than She-Hulk coming out?
No. I'm Groot came out this week, She-Hulk next week, and then probably not much going on till D23.
All right. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering why this stuff, we already kind of explained it at the beginning, why this stuff is coming out on Thursdays because of She-Hulk coming out. I did read somewhere that She-Hulk was actually going to be coming out on Wednesdays.
What I heard it was going to be on Thursdays. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
May want to double check that, but this episode is coming out on Thursday. So definitely take a look at that. After Party won't be coming out, but due to that, there will be a slight change to After Party. You don't want to tell the public?
Just, listen after Party, you'll see.
Okay. We'll just let you know there's a change. What it is, we won't reveal.
And we'll be back next week with our talk about She-Hulk episode 1 and all that.
Yep. And then you're probably all wondering what's going on with the whole Red Hood movie review.
It's coming.
That's all you want to say. It's coming.
It's coming.
You said that last time. You said it's coming on this Sunday.
No, I didn't. Last week I said it's coming. I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming.
All right. Well, we're definitely going to get into that. I'm very excited to do that. It's not my fault. It's his.
It's my fault.
But due to what's happening this week, I don't know if we'll get to it until like later down the road. Yeah. So then also you've already probably gotten a look at the stream going on. We are reworking the whole Twitch stuff into looking like back and forth official stuff. So keep an eye on that. And yeah, streams again will still always be on Thursdays, 6 to 7 usually. So yeah, keep your eyes open for that.
All right. See y'all next week.
Don't put yourselves inside a box.